names?
No.
Okay, all right, I yield. Is there anybody else who wants to make a comment about this? Mr. Goldman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there's actually a lot of ground for common bipartisan effort here. I can assure all of my colleagues that the immigration issue is top of mind, that Democrats are very concerned about whether there are convicted criminals who remain in this country, and because of our immigration laws, including the fact that a country has to be willing to take someone who is removed in order for that person to be removed. There certainly are lots of things that we can address here. Our national security is at a very perilous point. The fact that we are seeing such egregious breaches of security clearance, classified information that warrant members of governments of other countries to start to say they're going to reevaluate their intelligence sharing with us should give everyone in this room serious pause about how we are tackling national security. Now, publishing the number of SIAs, it may be nice for to talk about. It may certainly, the transparency is something that we support, but it does nothing to ultimately secure our homeland. And I wish we were spending a lot more time on efforts to shore up our classified information, to shore up our relationships with our allies who provide us with intelligence information so that we can stop a terrorist attack, a real terrorist attack, not a terrorist attack based on alleged accusations of terrorism by members of this committee or members of the White House. You see, you aren't actually a terrorist just because a member of Congress from Georgia says you are. There actually has to be evidence provided to support that. That's how our country works. That's how due process works. That's how the rule of law works. Is the president doesn't get to determine that someone is or is not a terrorist. Members of Congress don't get to determine whether someone is or is not a terrorist. But that does not seem to be something that some of my colleagues understand. There's a reason why we have due process in this country, and you may think that due process is not warranted for someone who is not a citizen of this country, or you may think that due process is not warranted for someone who's accused of being a member of a Venezuelan gang or terrorist organization. But once you start going down that slippery slope, then our basic foundations of due process come undone entirely. And I don't understand what the problem is with allowing a neutral arbiter based on evidence to determine whether someone is a terrorist or not. What is the objection that this administration has to presenting evidence to a judge to say, this is the evidence that this person is a member of a particular cartel? What we've seen in one particular case that is top of mind right now is that there's a confidential informant who has said that someone was a member of a foreign gang, a foreign terrorist organization now designated, and that he wore a particular type of baseball hat. There's no corroboration. There's nothing else to corroborate or to confirm what that confidential informant says, at least that has been presented. And I know there are some lawyers on the other side, some former prosecutors on the other side of the aisle who, like me, would never, ever present to a judge a non-corroborated statement from a confidential informant as the basis for establishing anything. And so we're a little off topic, but I did feel I need to address my colleague from Georgia's comments about all of the alleged terrorists who are there are those who are supporting them to stay in. Nobody is supporting any member of a foreign gang to stay in here. We would just like to make sure that people are adjudicated and determined to be a member of a foreign gang by someone other than the President of the United States or a member of Congress.